finally, we get a good movie. I feel like those things are like endangered. Hey, what is up, guys? It is me, Anthony, here to give you guys another movie review. This time it is for Vampires vs. the Bronx. Welcome back to the Halloween special. I should probably have some effects going on, but I'm too lazy for that. But this is the continuation of the Halloween special, and we're talking about this movie, Vampires vs. the Bronx. I have a lot of good things to say about this movie. So Vampires vs. the Bronx is about a group of kids from where else, the Bronx, as they discover that vampires have invaded their town and they're not happy about it. So I really like this movie. This movie is probably up there in my list. I'm already thinking about the best movies of the year so far because the year is wrapping up. It's weird. We're in October. We're almost into the year. But yeah, this movie is up there for me. And it's kind of funny because a lot of the movies I have for my favorites of the year are all horror films. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the positives of this film. So first off, right off the bat, I felt like this was like a Goosebumps movie come to life into live action. As you guys can tell, I'm a big Goosebumps fan. I have a whole bunch of Goosebumps books. I'm still collecting. But this just felt like one of those books come to life. It had that teen horror vibe down perfectly. It felt like a good film that you could show to your kids. We just need more movies like this. I feel like in the past, we had a whole bunch of them. In the 80s and 90s, there was a whole bunch of teen adventure movies. Now, barely get any. And if we do get some, they're just really bad. This movie also has some really great characters that you can get invested into. So when they are in danger, you feel for them. The characters in this film are probably some of the best characters that I've seen in a film all year. I'm like invested in these characters. I'm invested in the kids. They're awesome. They're gonna go somewhere. I was like watching this movie, I was like, I'm gonna see them when I'm like 50 years old winning Academy Award. I'm invested in this whole town. This movie makes you really feel like you are living in the Bronx. You're part of the Bronx, part of this whole community that's going to fight these vampires. And I thought that was probably one of the coolest things that I've experienced watching a movie all year. But like I was saying, it makes you feel like you're in the Bronx with them. You can smell like the bodega shop across the street. You can hear the sirens going down the street, the kids playing with the fire hydrant and stuff. Like you just feel like you're there. I also like that this movie is just simple. It's just vampires versus the Bronx. Vampires come. We don't really explain it. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the negatives. Even then, even if they don't explain it, it's just like, here it is. This is what we have. Simple, easy, fun. I also like that there is no CGI in this movie. Or if there is CGI, I didn't really catch it because there's all practical effects. Even the vampires, when they go vampire mode, I guess, it's all makeup and everything. Even their flying. Yeah, they fly in here. I guess that's a spoiler. But it's not CGI. They do a lot of wire work. It could look a little cheesy, but I just like that they were committed to not use as much CGI or any CGI at all. Now for the negatives of this film, and I touched on it a little bit in the beginning, and it is the simpleness of the story, particularly with the vampires. Now the vampires, they kind of show up, which I don't mind in this movie, especially if the rest of the movie is good and compelling, which this movie is, but they kind of just show up, and then the explanation of why they're here is they just need a new home, and they don't really dive that deep into the lore of these vampires. And I wish they just like put a little 5-15 minutes of just a little bit more backstory on the vampires to get me more invested in them as characters. And I know that this film and the filmmaker and the writers can do this because they did it with everybody else, all the other characters, even that one random character across the street that barely gets any lines. I'm more invested in that character than I am in the vampires. But yeah, that's just the one little nitpick that I have with the movie. Other than that, this movie's amazing. You should stop what you're doing. Actually, don't stop watching this review, but after this, watch this movie. Can't wait for them to make a sequel. We need werewolves versus the Bronx. We need aliens versus the Bronx, zombies versus the Bronx, all of those. But let me know what you guys think of Vampires versus the Bronx in the comments down below. Are you guys a fan of Goosebumps like I am? I'm kind of obsessed. But let me know in the comments if you like these kind of teen horror, comedy, adventure movies. Let me know in the comments down below. But guys, don't forget to check out my Twitter so you can stay up to date with my channel. And remember guys, keep watching movies.